Okay guys, I haven't done a video on Hollywood Boulevard in a long arse time, but as you can see, I'm on the old Hollywood Boulevard, and today's a special day, right? Because I haven't done a video where I've actually communicated with somebody else. I got a little special guest going on here, and it's gonna be a good one. It's a special human being that I met in the gym, and I started talking about keto. He started talking about the musculoskeletal system, and boom, magic happened. So I'm going to show you this very special human being here on crazy Hollywood Boulevard that has definitely impacted my understanding of how to connect with my own body during my workouts, because as you guys know, I have a lot of injuries, and this knowledge it's very, very, very important for me to just improve the old body. So here we have, right here, a good buddy of mine. His name is Pawnell Johnson, and we're gonna have a conversation right now. So everybody, this is Pawnell. This is an extraordinary individual, and I'm gonna ask him some questions, and I just want you guys to hear the magic, the wealth of knowledge that we can all learn from. So he just produced this amazing book, and as you guys can see, this is the cover. Yes. So it's Pawnell 57 because he's 57 and he is a badass in the gym. Very, very knowledgeable, and has helped me connect more with my own body. So let's get right into it. Okay, so basically, can you explain to our audience the importance of knowing, let's say, actin and myosin, and how does that work with like a squat, for example?
Okay, well, first of all, the importance of understanding actin and myosin is they're actually called, both of them are termed as myofilaments. You would have 1,500 of them approximately in a muscle spindle. 500 myosin, which act as a bridge, and 1,000 actin. And the thing that's so fascinating about it is you're actually, when you utilize the sliding filament theory.
Can you show me?
Sure, I can.
Yeah. So this is an incredible book that he produced. So I want you guys to take a look.
Okay, so this is a quick chart of the sliding filament theory. So what it is in the middle, right here of this diagram, if you see the bridges, these are the myosin. And the outside of the bridges are the actin. Now, every time you make an extension, the actin comes out. And every time that you make a contraction, the actin comes in. But the myosin stays still. But if you look at these diagrams, you see that the edges of the myosin, of the actin, are rough or barbed. So what it does, by you creating friction in your movement, in other words, if your workout is animated, you will actually blister or scar the myosin. So once you blister, and I'm sorry, you want to say something?
Oh no, go for it.
Once you blister the myosin, what's going to happen? The blister is going to first turn into a scab, and then that scab will actually turn into a callus, which will cause another layer of myosin, which is two things. That's why muscles are hard, and that's how your muscle growth is.
So this is what we're looking for when we're lifting, right?
Yes.
When we're wanting that density in the muscle, like that compact hardness.
Right.
It's actually the scarring of the muscle that you're saying.
Yes. And
like a blister.
Instead of it being what is anabolic, but like stacking molecules, you're actually stacking lean mass. So this is real.
So what type of like training would create this?
Well, actually, all resistance
scarring to create density in muscle.
Right, all resistance training, and by the way, resistance training doesn't mean excessive weight. Resistance training means what is resistant to you, to the individual.
Okay.
Okay, because this is morphology. There's 3 components to the physiology of fitness. 1 is bone integrity, 2 is metabolics, and 3 is morphology. This is morphology.
This is morphology.
Yes. This is, in other words, to put the fancy name to the side, this is bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding.
Right. So
Love
it's a difference. Yeah, it's a difference between weightlifting and bodybuilding. So when you're in the basic gym, chances are that every piece of equipment in there is for bodybuilding, because if it wasn't, there'd be no safety. When you see a piece of equipment and it has a safety, it's for bodybuilding. Weightlifters don't use safety. They just pick the, you know what I'm saying? They train it. Yes. So the thing is, most of the time when I say resistance training, it's what is resistant to you, as long as it's an honest resistance.
To the individual.
Yes. And the way you would tell is if you have to break your form or you feel the weight in your joints, that means you have too much weight. If you can't get a good drive with the weight you're pushing, you have too much weight. You want to drive. If you can't drive, when I say drive,
so like can you show me like in the context of like a bench press?
Okay, well, a drive with a bench press, that would be a drive. Continuous animated movement. You don't hyperextend or lock out.
Just don't lock out. Okay.
Anytime with your resistance training.
And why not lock out?
Because you're going to load bear on your joints.
I see.
And you're going to load bear on your joints, and the weight's going to push against your joint.
And not actually have this
right. And also another thing,
muscle response.
You won't be using muscle because if you're pushing with your joint. Just like, for instance, when you're on a bench and your hands are too close together and you're not doing close grip, but you're doing a regular bench press and your hands are too close together, you're going to be pushing that weight with your elbows, which is what you don't want to do. So your ideal position for a bench press would be so that between your forearm and your tricep and bicep, it's a 90-degree angle.
Gotcha.
So when you're pushing that weight up, you're pushing with your tricep and not your joints. Because you see if your hands are too close together, you'll be pushing that weight with your joints.
Right.
Do not push weight with your joints. Keep your joints out of the picture. Because that's something that cannot be corrected in the gym. There's a difference between muscle soreness and joint pain. Muscle soreness is okay, joint pain is not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So we got this understanding of how important it is to, use the proper form, to not use joint, to actually use muscle. What about things like your plumb line? How is that relevant?
Well, your plumb line.
And what is your plumb line?
Okay.
And how relevant is it to your workout, or to have gains in the gym?
That is a really good and important question, because a lot of physical inadequacies are not chronic, and are something that can be visually recognized and corrected. And the answer to the first part of your question, what is a plumb line? The plumb line is from the front of to the top of your head, to the center of your ear, to your shoulder, to your hip bone, to your knee, to your ankle. It should be in a straight line. That's called a plumb line. So if I had a client and I was training a client, I would look, first of all, without opening my mouth, and see how their plumb line is. Another thing that's usually addressed is scoliosis. And a lot of people think that only goes to a certain special population. My news for everybody is that everybody has scoliosis.
Wait. Are you serious? Everybody has scoliosis?
Just about. And when I say everybody,
You mean everybody?
I mean just about.
How is that possible?
Well, for the simple fact that either you're a lefty or a righty. So for a big part of your life, you've been really utilizing the muscles on one side of your body. And because of that, all right.
So like if you're carrying a grocery bag like with one hand all the time.
Yeah.
For example, like I'm carrying a suitcase, so I'm always using my right hand or right arm.
Right. So what's going to happen there is, okay, you have two skeletons.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
You have two skeletal frames. Let me put it like that.
Okay.
You have, if you don't mind,
No.
your axle skeleton, which is your skull, your rib cage, and your spine. And you have your appendicular skeleton, your shoulder girdle, your hip girdle, and your appendages. Okay? The thing that keep these two skeletal frames working in concert are called stabilizers. Your upper body stabilizers are your rhomboids. Your rhomboids work in conjunction with your levator scapular. This is your levator scapular. These are your rhomboids, usually around the thoracic section of your spinal column. The thing, your lower body stabilizers are called your iliopsoas muscles. It's your iliac muscle and your psoas muscles, but they work in conjunction, and when they work together as abductors, adductors, they're called the iliopsoas. They start from your 12th thoracic vertebrae down to your 5th lumbar vertebrae and hook it to your femur.
So can you contextualize this with workouts, with squat, for example, or any type of leg exercise?
Well, number one, they connect the two skeletons. And most of the time when you do a closed kinetic chain exercise, which means that your feet are on the floor, which if I could tell you another exercise which I think is really important.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you see people doing bench press with their legs in the air or their legs up.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's a modified version. That's if you have a back problem. If you don't have a back problem.
Flatten out the back.
Yeah, because
then
if you don't.
Shouldn't be doing that.
You shouldn't. Because you got to activate your stabilizers. See, when you're on a bench, because you're pressing, you think you're just pressing. But in actuality, you're keeping away from doing this. Your stabilizers are doing that.
Gotcha.
So you're basically using a lot more muscles than you think, because you think your agonist muscles would be your pectoralis muscles, which is correct. But you have so many assistant muscles or synergist muscles involved.
Like?
Simple, like your iliopsoas.
Okay.
This is keeping you on. You ever see the benches this narrow?
Right.
And you're wondering why, if you have 225, that you're not falling off the bench?
Well, I'm kind of small, so I fit. But those bigger guys, they don't fit on it very well.
And that's what's holding them on it. And their rhomboids on their upper body, which keep the weight from going like this, is the rhomboids. You all right?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Everybody knows I've got a strong arm. I've done a lot of selfie videos, so no, we're good.
But that's at the top. Now imagine doing a bench press without this muscle.
Yeah?
So as I told you before, these are two separate skeletons. So imagine if that muscle wasn't there. What would you be pushing the weight with? You have to involve your stabilizers, but they're not prime movers. They're only synergists. Now, on a bench press, your agonist muscle would be your pectoralis major, minor, and your serratus anterior. Your antagonist or opposing muscle, which is in charge of your relaxation stage, would be your latissimus dorsi, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can you lift your arm up so you can show me? Show us your latissimus dorsi.
Okay, your latissimus dorsi, maybe a better view would be here, is what a lot of people call them your wings.
Right.
And you have your bottom two, 1, 2, 3, 4, because you have 4 of them on each side. So your bottom two, and then you have your top two. And then over your lats are little known muscles called your teres muscles. Your teres major is the reason you could do this, that you can pull forward.
Right, so like with the dumbbell on a bench.
Right, and people think that has to do with your chest. It doesn't. It has to do with your, it's because, okay, you have your teres major, which is, it's a bone that comes off, it's a muscle that comes off the top of your lat muscles and wraps to the back of your arm so that it could come forward. So it could come forward like this. Your latissimus, your teres minor is just the opposite. It's over the teres major and it comes in front of the humerus so you can pull back. But your teres minor, and I'm sorry if I could just say this real quick.
It's only because we're about to run out of time. I'm going to do a second half, another video.
All right.
But I want you to get in your email. For you guys who are interested in getting Parnell's book, you can go to his email, which is
Parnell J, which is spelled PONN, 2 N's as in Nelson, ELLJ @gmail.com.
So we're gonna do a second half too.
Okay.